So we got a brief little message. Hi, I'm Cam Ward, and I'm declaring for the NFL draft. And then we did it. I mean, bud, we are going to have a lot of times where schools are competing against schools in a bidding war. And we are going to have some times where a school is competing against the uncertain NFL earnings. I mean, did Miami just have to go back to the table or ask Cam Ward to come back to the table? What do you think led to this change of heart for the former Incarnate Word and Washington State quarterback?
Yeah, look, this is Miami's money year, and I think if you're Cam Ward, you said, show me the money, right? There are several schools that talked to Cam Ward. I think Florida State, Auburn, Miami, and Miami was the one that was seen as being willing to go really out there with an offer. If you're Cam Ward, I think you played this leverage-wise pretty brilliantly. You bluffed the NFL pretty hard. Whether or not Cam Ward's ready to be an NFL quarterback, I don't know. And now you can go back and get some pretty serious cash to go play behind what should be the ACC's best offensive line, I would think. And, two pretty good receivers in Restrepo and George. They probably need to find a third in the transfer portal. And, if you're Miami, I thought they did a pretty good job of also sort of pressuring him like, hey, man, we will move on. I don't know if you guys know this. Talia was on campus. We feel good about getting this waiver. I'm like, you do? Really? Okay, that's curious. I thought they might have bluffed him a little bit that way too, to be like, hey man, we're willing to pay the money.
Yeah.
Or, like, how serious are you about this NFL stuff? Like, are you sure you don't want to play college football anymore? You want to go play pro ball? And I think it's a great gift for Miami. Like, Miami has a pretty good chance to be favored in the ACC next year because Ward was. Basically, every school I know thought he was the top guy in the portal for quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So that's a big get for them.
Yeah, no, I think it's very good for Miami. I think that you could make a strong case that they have upgraded a QB, and I think that Cam Ward is a very talented player. I don't think Cam Ward is like, top QB in the country, but I think that of the portal this year, and I've talked about it, like, I didn't think this portal class of QB was all that spectacular.
Agreed.
I thought he was clearly the best option available in the portal. He's not going to come in and make Miami a ACC champion by himself. There's still other things that they have to do, but I think he greatly increases the floor there of what they have. And I think that getting him is huge for the Canes, and we'll have to just see if it works.
If you're Cristobal, you really could not risk going into year 3.
No.
And as Chip had pointed out, he's 12-13 there. I think he's killing it in recruiting, especially at the premium positions along the lines of scrimmage. And that's really how you build a title contender. But you cannot risk going into your third year, which is kind of your prove-it year, with Ja'Cory Brown and Reese
Poffenbarger.
I mean, come on, man. Like, that's not going to get it done. I guess it could get it done. Those guys took a massive leap, but you need a little bit. You need a little bit more there.
I needed Reese Poffenbarger to end up at a MAC school so we can get a Reese Poffenbarger versus a Jeff Undercuffler matchup that the world just needs to see.
His arm's too good. Yeah, he doesn't. No. That him throwing a vase doesn't look the same. So we got to make sure we keep him in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Miami being awesome along the lines of scrimmage, but not having a difference maker at quarterback means there's more margin for error. And what about Miami tells you that they're going to end up on the right side of small margins? Like, you have to, like, this is a team that needs to go into the fourth quarter up by 10. Mm-hmm. Like they need to put teams away and blow teams out. What was the best performance we've seen from Miami football in the last 2 seasons? It was beating Texas A&M when they just were scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring. And even when they were doing dumb things and kind of letting Texas A&M back into the game, it didn't matter because they created that window. Like that, you need to have a difference maker because an NFL type. Because I was thinking about this. Watch more NFL after the college season ends. Like, most NFL games, they always are just like, that's their selling point, right? They're all close games and they all come down to the fourth quarter.
Not this weekend, they weren't.
Yeah, I know, but that is not what you want for Miami. You need to have an offense and a quarterback that can give you like large leads.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Best offensive line in the league, best quarterback in the league now.
Strong argument for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Receivers are about as good as anybody else has, I think. Best defensive line in the league, maybe Clemson.
Yes.
Maybe
Florida State will have an argument with that too, with Jackson and Peyton and Farmer.
I think I would give Clemson the edge overall. I think Miami has the best player on the defensive line in Bain.
I mean, Maui Noah and Basaint at linebackers, pretty damn nice.
Yeah.
Secondary, I think they're probably pretty solid there. Safety's a bit of a question, but yeah, like I think this is a pretty big deal for them. Like they could absolutely win the league. They should have gone 8-4 last year if they can take a knee. Like, is it crazy to think they can go from an 8-4 level team to a 10-2 or 11-1? I think it's very possible. And the schedule is a cakewalk. Have you seen it?
And like Tom, that's
if you just turn off Mario's headset during games, you could win 11 games.
Listen, Tom, you were like, I don't know if this addition of Cam Ward like turns them into like an ACC championship contender. It might, which is a reflection of like where the bar is to be an ACC championship contender. But if you're going to put together a list of 4 teams that you think 2 of them are going to end up in Charlotte in the ACC title game, Miami might have been on the cutting, like right on the list. And now I think you have to include them.
I think the difference between Cam Ward and what they've had is that I've been a big Tyler Van Dyke fan for years. So I'm putting that context out there. I think the difference is Cam Ward has the kind of talent that can win you a game on his own. Like, it's not always there, but when he's on, he can make the play that wins the game. I don't think Tyler Van Dyke really ever truly has had that kind of just whatever you call it.
Agree with you on that. If you swapped Mike Norvell or Dave Doran in, I think we're not saying Miami could be the favorite for the ACC. I think we're saying they are
the favorite. Yeah.
They are paying a Mario tax on our expectations.
Absolutely. So, I mean, how many? Dave would probably have Cam handing off a lot too, though. So
Dave hates mistakes. Cam Ward throws 1 first quarter interception. That's it. Putting the clamps on him the rest of the way. And
the schedule is real friendly, by the way. So
for Miami
at Florida on Labor Day, FAMU, Ball State at USF, at Cal, at Georgia Tech, at Louisville, Duke, Florida State, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest at Cuse.
You don't just walk into.
Are they favored in all 12 games?
Stadium. There's a decent
I think they're favored in all 12 games.
Oh, buddy. You know,
no pressure with those expectations.
Yeah. I was gonna say, just when you're trying to tell me it's a down year for the ACC, let me sell you on the greatest story known to man: Miami and expectations.
Like no NC State, no Clemson on this schedule, no SMU.
I could see some 3-9 against the spread coming next year for the Miami Hurricanes.
And look,
Mario's an extremely trustworthy 14-point favorite, guys.
Listen, we are getting our jokes off, and we have like reasons and results. But the reason why you are in the conversation to compete for a championship is because of what Bud said at the beginning. The man has recruited his ass off, and Miami's the dog in the ACC right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? Top recruiting program in the conference. Like, that's the team that you got to go beat. And that's a Mario thing. That's good. Like, we're just saying.
And if they don't win the league, it's going to be a lot.
Jeez. We're just saying.
With that schedule and that payroll, better get it done. Like, play off the expectation easily.
Other notable portal news: Isaiah Bond, former Alabama wide receiver, on the receiving end of the famous Gravedigger 4th and a mile toss from Jalen Milroe in the Iron Bowl. He has committed to Texas. That is incredibly significant for Texas.
I thought Cole Kublik had a great line when he said, "This is the first player ever to transfer out before the Daniel Moore painting is even dry."
Let's go, Cole.
Look, shut up. He said it was a business decision. I don't know if that means NIL, which I definitely think Texas has much better NIL than Alabama does. For how long, I don't know. Like, I don't think Alabama's going to have lacking NIL for too long, right? But I definitely think they do compared to a Texas right now. Or it could be a business decision. If this is your money year, would you rather catch passes from Quinn Ewers and or Arch Manning, who takes a massive leap, or would you rather catch passes from Jalen Milroe? I know what I'm doing if I'm trying to earn money. So
Business
Makes a
decision.
lot of sense.
Yeah,
there.
I don't know if he did it intentionally, but he threw Milroe under the bus because he was talking like he said it like is in the story with Thamel, and that's another funny part of this to me is now like when Thamel announced that Bond was entering the portal, he said according to the agency, I can't remember what the name of the agency is. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you the free pup, but it's like according to the blah 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 agency, Isaiah Bond has entered the transfer portal. So yeah, and then Bond says it's a business decision. We know what this has been the entire time, but he also said, he's like, you've got Quinn Ewers, a guy who could be the first quarterback taken in the draft next year. I'll be catching passes from. So it's like, yeah, everything about this is a business decision.
Isaiah Bond is like, we say a lot of guys are fast. Isaiah Bond is fast. I think he's like one of the top 10 fastest recorded players from last year on the tracking data on StatsBomb. So that could open up a new dimension of that Texas offense.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's also discuss opportunities because there are 5 players who for Texas last year, and Texas as a team had more than 4,000 passing yards. There are 5 players who had 25 or more receptions. They are Xavier Worthy gone, A.D. Mitchell gone, J.T. Sanders gone, Jonathan Brooks obviously gone, and Jordan Whittington gone. 82% of the team receiving yards are gone. Every significant pass catcher from the season is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And your quarterback is Quinn Ewers and or Arch Manning. Like this, and your head coach is Steve Sarkisian. I mean, again, like I understand that if you were like, Isaiah, they just hired Kalen DeBoer, and did you see the offense that they had? I understand that if you would say that's, your criticism, but business decision, quarterbacks, and again, what seems to be a plethora of opportunity and work that he's going to be able to get as we assume Texas's go-to receiver heading into next year. So it's a big move and a notable one as Texas is trying to reload. And how about this? As Texas is trying to make a case as the number 2 team in the SEC next year.
Who would be ahead of them? Alabama?
Georgia.
Maybe?
Georgia.
No, I meant for the number 2.
For the number 2. Maybe Alabama. Maybe. But yeah, no, I think Texas has a very solid case to be the number 2 team.
They do lose a good bit on defense. I think there'll probably be a clustering of schools that are number 2 next year. You could probably get some folks to say Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But Texas Ole Miss debate. Texas is looking a little bit better because at least one of my question marks seems to be answered, at least in part, by the addition of Isaiah Bond. All right,
Georgia just dog walk
I know
the
chat
SEC next year.
Georgia,
Does Georgia dog walk the entire conference next year?
It's hard to dog. Like that's a really talented league. They gotta stay healthy. I see the chat wants to stop talking about Arch Manning. Look, man, if Quinn Ewers isn't like a no doubt early entrant pro guy, then we have to consider the possibility that he gets beat out. I don't think he's going to get beat out, but it's not 100% chance that he has the job next year for the full season. Like, what if Arch Manning takes a big time leap?
I mean, I just think we're detailing one of the best quarterback rooms in the country heading
into
the season.
That level good, he'd be
gone.
Yeah,
and exactly right.
And Quinn's missed time in both of the
hurt
teams as a starter.
Yes.
It's hurt. I don't understand. We're not trying to make it a bit. It was a bit. I will admit that.
No,
it was. But
we don't do bits on this show. Everything we say is serious all the time.
But right now, I mean, this is just an honest assessment of the Texas offense and the quarterback room. And the fact is, you've got 2 players who each of them would be a surefire starter at almost every other power conference program if they walked in the door. That's not something a lot of people have, and that's what Steve Sarkisian has.
Also, Georgia's schedule is hard to dog walk because you have 3 legitimately difficult games, but the other 9 you're going to be a large favorite in, right? So they are at Ole Miss, at Texas, at Alabama. You're not going to be massive favorites in those games.
Dogs by 50, all 3.
Oh, no. They're losing one of those.
All right. Well,
the other one,
Chip just got put on the locker room bulletin board in Athens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Chip's out here saying you can't win these games.
Y'all need some motivation. Let's say Chip says you can't go 3-0 in those 3 roadies. You're gonna lose one of them. You better hope it's not one that costs you a spot in Atlanta. You know, head-to-head tiebreaker in a divisionless standings. Those games are important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what actually, if I'm going to jump out the gate with some real locker room motivation, it's when I take Clemson in that opener.